I'll welcome to the stage my dear friend, the instructor at Qadam, Sheikh Mikhaeel Osman. Few more round of applause, inshallah.
Hold on, you know, when you go to a garden, you pick flowers. And you give them to those that you love.
But I want the real one.
You know, my mother, may Allah guide her to Islam. Say Ameen.
Ameen.
My mother, she always had fresh flowers at home. And I couldn't appreciate it. I would be like, they're gonna die in a few days. What's the point? And she said, the point is that we appreciate it while it's alive. We appreciate it while it's alive. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. قال الله تعالى إلا تنصروه فقد نصره الله إذ أخرجه الذين كفروا ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا فأنزل الله سكينته عليه وأيده بجنود لم تروها. Tonight we are talking about the gardens of paradise. And specifically, we are speaking about the Sahaba. For those who don't know, the Sahaba are the people that kept the company of the Prophet ﷺ. The greatest title of anyone in Islam, the greatest rank that you can reach, y'all. Yeah, I'm from Texas. The greatest rank in Islam, after a prophet of God, is a Sahaba. And what does a Sahaba mean? What is it, that word that we say so often, what does it mean? It means someone who's able to keep another person's company. What I want us to walk away from tonight understanding is that everybody needs somebody. You aren't meant to make this journey alone. This journey of Islam, this journey of reaching your full potential spiritually, you're not supposed to make that journey by yourself. It's commonly said, y'all, say it too many times. It's commonly said that we come into this world alone and we leave alone. Well, that's only partially true. The fact of the matter is that we come into this world quite literally connected to another human being. And then the doctor comes and he snips the umbilical cord and that connection is severed. And from the moment that connection is severed, we are constantly looking for connection to another person. So we come into this world searching for other souls to connect to. Souls that we knew before, y'all. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-arwah junud mujannada. That the souls were gathered before they came into these bodies. The souls were in the divine realm together. And sometimes you're with somebody and you feel like you knew them before. You just feel that natural vibe with them. The Prophet ﷺ says, your souls were together. That's why you feel a connection. So every one of us, brothers and sisters, we come into this world looking for connection, searching for connection. You know the time when you need a connection the most? When you're making a transition. A baby coming into this world, it needs that skin-to-skin contact. A child going off to kindergarten, if you remember the first time you dropped off your child at kindergarten and you went there and you put them there and you stood by the door a little bit so they could see you were there. And they kept looking back for a moment until they got comfortable. We all need people. And I want us to understand that this rhetoric that everyone has their own journey to God, it needs to be nuanced. We need to understand that flowers don't grow alone, they grow in a garden. And the greatest thing that the Prophet ﷺ was given was a companion that had his back. He was there for him. He supported him. And as I said, what you need is people in the moments of transition. So I want you to look at one of the most difficult transitions for our Habib, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What was one of the biggest transitions in his life? When he migrated from Mecca to Medina. He left everything behind. And did he do it alone? No, he didn't. Abu Bakr comes into the room and he says, Ya Rasulullah, I think I'm about to head to Medina. He says, no, just wait a bit. Abu Bakr goes, oh, if you're telling me to wait, sometimes I call home, honey, I'm going to be late. Just go to sleep. Eat without me. She says, no, I'm going to wait for you. I'll wait for you. Abu Bakr was ready to go. The Prophet said, wait for me. I want your company on this journey. I need you to be with me on this journey. See, I want you to understand, before I talk about who Abu Bakr is, you have to understand what he was to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, Umar ibn Khattab, he walked into the house of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His face was red. He had upset Abu Bakr, but he was actually coming because he had did what was wrong. He came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because him and Abu Bakr had gotten into an argument. And Abu Bakr had actually been wrong. But Umar felt bad. I'm paraphrasing because of time. Finally, Abu Bakr comes into the room later. And the Prophet ﷺ, he looks around the room and he says, will you not leave my man alone for me? He believed in me when no one else did. He was there for me when I was rejected by everyone. If you aren't convinced yet that this journey of being a Muslim is not to be done alone, I ask you to reflect on this moment. When the revelation began and the Prophet ﷺ received the words Iqra, he ran down the mountain. He ran from the top of this mountain and he ran straight home. Did he run into his office, open the room and say, I'll handle this myself? Did he distance himself from Khadijah and say, let me figure things out, give me space? He ran to her. He said, hold me. I'm lost, I'm confused, I don't know what's going on. He said, hold me, Zammiluni, Dathiruni, hold me close, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Khadijah. And she held him. She held him because gardens, flowers don't grow alone in gardens. They need other flowers around them. So she held him. And in his lowest moment, she lifted him up. She supported him. You know, by now you should realize I have a green thumb. So I have a few plants at home. And as they grow, sometimes they get top heavy. And they don't know how to handle their own weight. So you got to put a stick in there to hold it up. And then eventually with that stick by its side, it gets the strength it needs for you to move the stick out of the way and it stand on its own feet. I want you to understand who he was. The Prophet ﷺ comes down the mountain. He runs into the arms of Khadijah radiallahu ta'ala anha because he needed someone to be there close to him. And during this mission, who did he need? Who did he have? He had Abu Bakr when no one else was there. And I ask you, when the Prophet was transitioning, remember I told y'all the hardest moments are when you're transitioning? Where did he run to? Where did he ask to be placed as he was leaving the world? He said, would you mind letting me be with Aisha? Revelation began in the arms of Khadijah, and the end of his life ended in the arms of Aisha. I tell you, we aren't meant to be alone in this journey, y'all. Your children need you. Your husband needs you. Your wife needs you. So who was Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu? Who was Abu Bakr? Well, he was the first man to accept the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's one thing. He was the man that transitioned with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina. And you know something? We're in a dark time now. a really dark time. We're in a dark time because it seems that our phone algorithms understand us more than the people next to us. So we run to our phone because it gets me, it knows what I want. Because the people around me don't. When the Prophet ﷺ was scared, he ran to Khadijah. When Musa was scared, he ran down the mountain and he said, I need my brother with me. You know, there was a few moments before the Prophet passed away. He was in and out of health and sickness. And I would like you to see what happens and why we need connection and why Abu Bakr was so special to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want you to walk out of here realizing that you can become the best Muslim when you connect to the people next to you. You embody Abu Bakr's spirit and soul. When you take someone next to you and say, I truly want to understand you like no one else understands you, because that will help you reach your highest spiritual state. The Prophet ﷺ was about to pass away. He's dragged onto the minbar. He's placed onto the minbar. And he says these words. A man has been given a choice to go forward or stay back, and the man has chosen to go forward. The masjid was silent, except for one man in the back of the masjid. He was weeping his eyes out. Another companion says, we looked in the back, and we saw Abu Bakr weeping. And we said, Ma balu Sheikh yabki. We said, what's wrong with the Sheikh? Why is he crying for? The Prophet ﷺ said, a man had a choice to go forward or go back. The man chose to go forward. What's the big deal? You know what the big deal was, y'all? He understood the Prophet ﷺ when no one else understood him. There are people in this room, there are sons waiting to connect to their dad, waiting for their dad to understand them when no one else will. There are daughters waiting for their mothers to understand them right now when no one else will. There are wives waiting for their husband to understand them when no one else will. When will we embody the spirit of Abu Bakr? He got so close to the Prophet ﷺ that he became a splitting image of him. He got so close. He was about to leave. This was before Hijrah. He was leaving and he was leaving Mecca. He asked the Prophet, let me just leave. The Prophet said, go ahead. Leave if you need to. He was on his way out of Mecca. A man by the name of Ibn Dughina, he stopped him. He stopped him and he said, where are you going, Abu Bakr? He said, I'm leaving. These people don't like me here. I'm going to another city. He said, مِثْلَكَ لَا تُخْرَجْ وَلَا يَخْرُجْ. Someone like you can never leave the city. إِنَّكَ لَتَسِلُ الرَّحَمْ وَتَحْمِلُ الْكَلْمِ وَتَعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبُ الْحَقِّ. You do this, you do that, you do this. You know what, brothers and sisters? He said the exact same qualities that Khadijah had said 10 years prior when she described the Prophet ﷺ. He became so close to the Prophet ﷺ, he became a splitting image. Suhbah means that you emotionally invest in someone until you become almost like them. You feel their pain, you cry with their tears, and you laugh with their laughter. But it wasn't over then. It wasn't over at that point. See, here's the deal. When you emotionally invest in a person deeply, you understand that the connection between your two souls is not limited by time and space. Let me repeat that. When you are truly connected to another soul, you realize that space and distance don't separate you from the one that you love. So when the Prophet ﷺ passes away, the world goes crazy. Umar loses it. Yep. Ali can't speak. Uthman is in a swoon. Their world was shooken up because their connection had been broken. And they thought they lost it all. But in walks one heart, one soul, one man, one Sahaba who embody what we all must embody, which is connection to another person. He walks into the room and he doesn't look anywhere. He doesn't look left. He doesn't look right. He walks straight to the Prophet ﷺ laying down. I want you to see it as I see it right now. He's laying there. He leans over and he kisses him. And he says, "Tibta mayyitan wa hayyan." You are sweet, alive and dead. You are so sweet, O Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then with composure he stands. And he walks to the minbar. And Umar is in the corner going crazy with his sword out. But Abu Bakr knew the connection wasn't lost. The distance of life and death didn't break him with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh, you don't believe me yet, do you? I see it in your eyes. Another person that was equally close was Bilal. He said, every time I used to call the adhan, I used to point at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ashhadu anna Muhammad. He would point. He would point. He would point. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, he left Medina. He said, I can't live here. Every step I take, I remember another place I was with my beloved. So I can't live here no more. He moved to Syria with his wife. A few months pass, he sees a dream. When you emotionally invest and connect to someone, life and death doesn't matter, you stay connected. You want to be a guidance for your child when you send him off to college? Invest in him right now when he's 4 years old. Show him you love him. Put your phone down. Show him you understand him better than the algorithm of TikTok does. Maybe he'll put the phone down and look at you. If you show you understand him, and if you invest. Bilal radiallahu anh is sleeping one night and he sees a dream. He sees a dream of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Ya Bilal, how come you don't visit me? Ma hadhihi al-jafa. What is this harshness I see from you? He woke up in the morning, packed his bags. Wife, where are you going? My Habib is calling me. I want you to realize that the greatest man to walk on this earth was great, part and parcel by Allah giving him Sahaba. People who held him, strengthened him, supported him. You don't believe me yet, I still see it in your eyes. I tell you this, it was the battle of Badr. The Prophet ﷺ was worried. He was worried that we would be killed. This deen would be wiped out. He was worried that Islam would cease to exist. So he's sitting in a thicket, a small hut, and he's making dua. Not like me and you, like this. He's making dua like this. Oh Allah, help us. Oh Allah, help us. Oh Allah, help us. And he's imploring. He says, oh Allah, if you don't let us live and win, you won't be worshipped. Abu Bakr comes behind him and he wraps him up again like Khadija did. He wraps him up and he says, enough, enough, enough. Who said that to who? Abu Bakr said that to our Habib Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We need each other. We need to invest in each other. That is the legacy of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was there for Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, every step of his life. And guess what happened? I have to end, my time is up. Guess what happened? When he passed away, the Prophet ﷺ, when he passed away, what do we say? Abu Bakr understood the assignment. He understood the assignment. He knew what he had to do. He was so connected that even when the Prophet passes away, the connection doesn't die. Brothers and sisters, I want you to leave tonight inspired to connect to your loved ones. I want you to stop thinking that this journey of spirituality is a journey that we make alone. And I want you to reflect on these words that I'll end with. Close to the time when the Prophet passed away, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he went over to the graveyard and he said, Salamu alaykum, to the believers who had passed away. And then he said, Insha'Allah inna bikum lahiqun, that we're going to meet you soon. And he said something. He said, I wish I could see my brothers right now. The Sahaba, they were with him. These companions who supported him, who gave him strength. They said, Ya Rasulullah, awalasna ikhwanak? Aren't we your brothers? He said, no, you're my Sahaba. You're my friends. You're my support. You're my crew. You keep me strong. My brothers and sisters are those who will believe in me even though they never saw me. And they will wish that they could sacrifice everything in this world to see me. Inshallah, we'll see you one day. Assalamu
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.